Diana Sullivan in Austin, Texas, and I'm doing a series of lessons on machine knitting, and this is the second lesson in a group about how to master your knitting machine's garter bar. And the garter bar is very helpful when you're decreasing. Now, very often when we're knitting, we'll get an instruction like this, which says, decrease 6 stitches evenly across the row. And I've got 30 stitches now, so my question is, where do those 6 decreases go? Now, the first step to figuring out how the math works with that is to add 1 to the number of decreases that I need to make. So I need to make 6 decreases, add 1. I need 7 groups of stitches. I don't want my decreases to be on the very, very end of the row. I want the end of the row kept even for seaming. So to keep the decreases from being on the end, I need 7 groups so that the decreases will be in between those 7 groups. Then I take the 30 stitches and I'm going to divide. If I take 30 and divide by 7, then I can see I can have 7 groups of 4 stitches, and I'm going to have 2 left over because 4 times 7 is 28, so I'm going to have a remainder of 2 stitches left over. So here are my 7 groups that would be where the decreases are. They go in between them, but I'm going to have an extra stitch on the 2 ends. So that means this end group will be a group of 5, and this end group will be a group of 5. Now I'll just do the decreases right on the knitting machine before I do any moving around with the garter bar. So I'm going to decrease, I've got a group of 5, then a group of 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and a group of 5 at the other end. And you can see that that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decreases that I needed to do. And I'm just going to move each of these onto the needle to the right of it. Doesn't matter, it could be right or left. So I'm actually doing the decreases with the transfer tool. Now if you're decreasing evenly across a row, you end up with these little holes. Well, you certainly don't want holes, and besides, the knitting machine will lay yarn in this empty needle, and then your decrease is gone. So that's not at all what you had in mind. What you actually need to do, since we are tied to these needles, we don't have sticks for needles like a hand knitter, we need to move all the stitches in so that there are no holes. Well, if I were to move all the stitches in, and I've done it before with one of these transfer tools, then I'd have to move these over and move these over, and just I would constantly be moving a few stitches over. Or maybe I would take the whole business off on waste yarn and then pick it back on. But the garter bar provides a wonderful shortcut for getting all of these stitches moved in. So I'll start by bringing the needles out. And of course, I'm going to put the stopper on. Now I explained in the first lesson how to adjust the stopper so that it fits your machine. The reason these come with the screws on them is that they don't fit every machine. So you have to adjust it. Once the stopper is on, the needles cannot move left or right. They are quite rigid, and they can't move forward or back, in or out. They're stuck right there. So I'll just slide the knitting back, which opens the latches, and I'm going to use my credit card tool to just slide across and open a few latches that didn't open because there was no yarn on them to open them. And then I'm going to take the garter bar and use it as a stitch holder again. I just lay it in the hooks of the needles and yank the stitches onto the garter bar. Some of the needles have 2 stitches on them because of decreases. So that's no problem. I just yank both stitches onto the garter bar. And I have too many needles, don't I? If I'm going to decrease by 6 stitches, then I'm going to have to get rid of 6 needles. So I'll get rid of 3 on the left, 3 on the right. If I do that evenly, then I can still use the needle numbers on the strip to help myself keep track of the count of how many needles I'm supposed to have. Now I take the garter bar and I find the point on the bar that has the first stitch, and I just lay that in the hooks, and I just pop those first 4 stitches onto the needles. I like to use pat on my finger for moving stitches with the garter bar. Didn't get that one all the way. Give it a little push. Okay. Then I move over because there was a hole, so I filled in the hole. Use my finger and poke the next ones on. Lift up, move over. So I continue across the needles, filling in the stitches, and when I get to an empty spot, I have to move over so that I can put a stitch on that one. This way there are no holes and the knitting has become narrower by decreasing evenly across the row. There are plenty of situations in knitting where it's much more attractive to increase or decrease evenly, and very often you see this instruction to increase or decrease evenly on garments. So I've decreased across the row. This instruction is something you see a lot with hats. So as you get to the top of the hat, and the knitting needs to be narrower all over so that it will fit the head. Okay, I just push that back and I proceed with the knitting. So I will do that because what I want to do is knit a few rows, take it off, and get it in front of the camera so that you can see how that looks on the knit side. Okay, I'm just going to clip the yarn and drop it off the machine. Here is a decrease right here. The row of stitch moves up like that, and here's one that just vanishes underneath another one. So see what a nice tidy looking decrease that forms. You can, I think at this angle you can see them very well coming on across. So that is how to use the garter bar to do decreases all the way across a row of knitting.